Hello and welcome to episode 116 of Writing in the Weeds. For some reason, I'm just going to do all of our numbers as single digits going forward here because 116, 116 sounds so much cooler. Thank you for joining us again for another episode. I hope you've had a fabulous week. And this conversation is just going to be a little bit off the cuff and it's coming in a little late because we're actually ahead on our recordings, which is really strange for both Ginny and I. So it's good practice to be ahead, but we really do talk in the moment. So the idea is this is probably actually going to be good for warning us all about what's coming next, because it seems that the moons and the stars and the energies are getting more and more intense. And it could be that more of us are opening up, that more of us are coming into greater awareness of what's going on inside our bodies, and that paying more attention, like that observer of what's going on, as opposed to actually just being in the body with the talking head, right? And I think once you start observing things from a third perspective, you start to notice and you're like, hey, why am I off? I'm not PMSing. Like in my case, I'm on an incredible adventure. I'm having great fun. There's amazing views. I'm on the Oregon coast. This is amazing. Why do I want to tear my husband a new one? He didn't do anything. And I started out the conversation with Ginny a minute ago, and I'm like, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, because I don't want you to think I'm actually making a comment about how you've been towards me in any way. But, like, have you been off? Has your mood been slightly off? Because my mood's been slightly off. And did the moon, like, what is going on? I think we have 3 moons right after each other. And that doesn't actually make any sense because they have to go in a month. But there's a whole lot of energy. And so, really, I'm just going to let Ginny answer the question that I asked her before. And we're just going to kind of roll with this and see if this resonates with you. And as I say, we're probably, as you listen to this, we're probably coming into another full moon. So stay tuned, stay aware, stay warned that the energies.
Yeah. And of course, my hilarious gut check reaction answer to your question is, well, I haven't been, but everybody else is. Which probably tells me that I'm probably in a bit of a mood myself. But yeah, it's been super intense this week. We're recording this the week of the full moon right now. So I think that's the key player. I don't know what else is going on, but I just know that the energies have been pretty jacked and people around me have been reacting disproportionately to situations. And I can't say that I haven't been, but I often am able to recognize that, like, oh dang, that response is not really warranted for the situation. And the thing that I like to remind myself and anyone I'm talking to is that just because you're having an intense emotion doesn't mean you actually have to act on it or do anything about it. Sometimes just going, damn, I am really angry right now. I don't know why or where this is coming from, but I'm feeling angry. I am feeling anger. Sometimes that's all it takes to loosen up that emotion and let go of it, because then it doesn't need anything to be directed at because you acknowledged that it's there. Yeah. So being able to take a breath and go, yeah, I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling anxious. That's one of my defaults, is when the energies get a little crazy, I am prone to falling into anxiety super fast. And of course, my brain can fantastically find things to validate that with.
Yeah.
And those are the moments that I tend to forget my tools the most. So it's interesting to observe when you're experiencing these kinds of feelings, which ones are the hardest for you to reach for the tools that you have. Because we've all got them. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably already have some tools in your tool belt that you know you can reach for.
Yeah.
Whether that's as simple as just breathing for a second, or doing some EFT tapping, or tugging on your ears, whatever it is, you've already got options. Do you remember to use them in the
Mm-hmm.
moment? I mean, we had a super intense weekend. We are having a porch put on the front of our house. It's like 2 or 3 layers of block with a concrete pad on the top. And they were starting on Saturday morning. And Saturday was a day that nothing went as planned. And I was an insane ball of anxiety, like all day. And it was like 8 p.m. at night. And I'm like, I didn't do anything that I could have done to help myself all day. Nothing. I probably didn't drink enough water that day. I didn't do any breathing. I wasn't rubbing my ears. I did nothing. And I just allowed not intentionally allowed, but I just rolled around in the anxiety all day.
Yeah.
And it happens. We get sucked into it sometimes. And at that point, it doesn't even matter where it comes from. Like, who cares? Who cares where it comes from? What matters is that you start with the awareness and then start reaching for your tools immediately. As soon as you recognize what's going on, you start reaching for something, a lifeline of some kind, to help bring you into a little bit more equilibrium in that moment.
Yeah. I've been rubbing my ears and also doing my butterfly taps in the last few days, just noticing where it's stressful. And I'm doing this Train Your Body to Wealth course with Laura Michelle Wolf, and it's doing it, creating it. Anyway, there's a whole story around that. But yesterday we were in the grocery store. There were a whole lot of things going on. But we're in the grocery store and we brought the dog in because I'd felt a little weird about having the car doors down, and so I decided to bring the dog in, which then meant that Ian was with the dog and he couldn't concentrate, and it became like a thing. But we're in the grocery store and things are really expensive. And we're starting to really move away from wanting to eat meat because it doesn't feel good. Energetically, there's something off about. I look at the meat and I'm like, I still want to eat that. And I mean, I've managed to put my humane side of me to the side for this many years. I don't love that I eat dead animals, but getting protein in other ways is challenging. So the more the meat just doesn't taste that good, doesn't look that good, it's becoming harder. But then what's the alternative? So it's like there's just these anxieties. And so we got to eat the vegetables. Well, we don't want to get too many vegetables. We don't have that much space in the fridge and we don't want them to waste. And there's a lot going on. And it's like, okay, what is this actually related to? This is probably mostly related to money first. If I had all the money at my disposal, I would probably be in a different situation. And that's what the Train Your Money to Wealth, the first part of that program is noticing that exact thing. And then being able to instantly click your fingers and bring yourself back into that state. And I'm listening to The Untethered Soul by Michael J. Singer right now. And I was listening to him yesterday and he was talking about being able to watch as an observer, like the thoughts. But the real lesson that just keeps coming back to me is the imagery of when we get attached to something and when we start rolling it over in our minds. Like old TVs, I was going to say, remember that old TVs used to be like if you left the image on the TV, so say you pause the video and you left it sitting up on the TV for too long, it would actually leave an imprint. I don't know if I'm old enough that this was a real problem for our technology of TV. It would leave an imprint on the screen. And so the warning from the manufacturer was to make sure that you didn't allow the screen to stay on the same image for too long. And that's exactly what happens when we ruminate on an experience. We basically create, he calls them samskaras, we create a scar and a trigger essentially in today's language. And it's literally that we've imprinted. So now you're watching your TV show, but you're seeing the imprint of the news in front of that TV show. And that's what happens when we stay stuck in that fear or that anxiety of what just happened. When we have that image that we're looking through, then that's everything that comes through. Whereas if we can just observe, hey, I'm really crunchy right now. And I'm actually really crunchy at my husband, and everything that he's done wrong over the past 6 months is coming up right now. And anything he does or says, I am literally looking through that imprint of everything that I held on to. And
Yeah.
the concept being that if you can be an observer, then you can notice, like, wow, who's talking right now?
Yeah.
Uh, Yesterday, I have to tell you guys this story. I went for a bike ride. Long story short, long story short, long story shit. I
I'm gonna leave that in there.
I tripped over a root. It was either flat or slightly uphill. I do not know what happened. I could blame the fact that my tire was almost flat. I don't even know. But I face planted into the ground. If you're watching on YouTube, I have scars on my lips. I'm so lucky I don't have a big fat lip. I'm lucky I didn't break my nose, to be honest.
Yes.
It was nasty. And it was right after Ian had been like, do we need to put our chin guards on? No, we didn't. No, these trails did not need that. Apparently I did. And it was one of those, the last time I didn't put my chin guard on and I carried it on my backpack, I did the same thing. Like, just a stupid, complete, like, who do I think I am that I am a bike coach? Like, I think I think my certification just got revoked. I was so bummed out. I was so embarrassed. I was like everything. And I was trying so hard to be like, don't imprint it on the screen. But like, really? Did that really happen? I wish it had been videotaped. I was bummed. I was so bummed. And then it was like the whole experience kind of, I was so excited to go for a bike ride. These trails were so rad. This trail network in the middle of nowhere, so cool. Ian couldn't come because his brakes weren't working. The dog was not super energetic, and I was like, I don't want to go for a longer ride because I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how far it's going to be. I didn't bring water. I don't want to push my dog. And he didn't come for a run with me the other morning. So I'm like, I don't want to push him too far. So I just went for a short lap. I got this one section, which was so fun, but then I had to ride all the way back out again. And so I maybe went for like a 45-minute bike ride on my own. I had to stop for the dog and I smeared myself on the ground. Like, it wasn't what I was imagining. And it didn't help my mood, which is what I was hoping to do.
Yeah. And as they say, there's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad days, even in Australia.
If you live in Australia, they're always like that. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'll leave the link for the book if you haven't read it. It's worth reading no matter how old you are because it's helpful. But yeah, I think it's just the energy right now. Everything is very, very intense. And if you don't have tools, you are having a very, very hard time. Those of us with tools are struggling ourselves. And so, if you don't have the tools yet, this is hard. And I just have to look around me at all the people that I'm encountering that are clearly struggling. And sometimes it's coming out visibly or audibly in conversations. And I'm like, I feel for you. I feel for what's going on. And as I've been working through some of the programs that I have the recordings for from Laura Michelle, even her podcast, one of the reasons I love listening to her talk is just because the energy that she puts into the conversations is so strong, so grounded, and so positive isn't the right word, but it's just a really pure, clean, clear energy. And it's so much easier when I have access to that for me to sit there and bring that up and just sit in it and surround myself with it and then spread it out. While I'm driving, that's one of the best ways I feel like I can use my time in the car. And I've been in the car a lot this week. My farm sitting client's been out of town, so that's been another thing on my list of things to do. And so I have 30 minutes each way, twice a day, that I'm in the car. And so I just spend that time running the energy
Mm-hmm.
because I figure the odds of anybody else being happy in traffic in this area is pretty freaking low. The odds of anybody actually trying to share good energy in traffic in this area is also pretty low. So I can do my little part to have my own bubble and allow that to just sort of rub off wherever I go. So that's what I envision as I'm driving. And I keep bringing myself back to that because I get distracted and the people have been in front of me doing 10 under the speed limit lately. So it's hard for me to even maintain that. But I've got that I can work with in that environment that's easy for me to be able to tap into no matter what's going on because I'm driving. I'm basically a captive audience for myself at that point. I know the road super well. I'm not having to worry about where I'm going, navigating unknown territories or areas. So, those are the kinds of things that you've got to find a way to incorporate into your routine so that you don't get pulled into the chaos that's around you. This is a lesson that the animals show me over and over again that just because a being is having an experience doesn't mean that you have to participate in the energy of that experience. You don't have to get sucked into it. Your dog is barking like crazy and going bananas. You don't have to get sucked into that energy. The horse is being spooky at his own shadow, God knows what. You don't have to get sucked into that.
Yeah.
You don't have to participate in that energy that's happening around you. And that's super hard, especially when it's people you know that you're close to, like your husband, your partner, your family, your children, or friends. I was doing some stuff on the farm the other day, and the guy who lives there got upset about something. And he definitely overreacted, but I still felt my system responding to that and getting upset. And I was like, it's not actually a problem, but I don't like that he had a problem with it. And that made me uncomfortable and that made me want to do something. And I'm like, I don't need to do anything. It's not my job to change that at this point.
At that
It's
point,
not my responsibility.
whose problem is it, right? Like, if you're having a problem with his problem, it becomes your problem. Like, Ian's dealing with some stuff right now that he's very validated in being really upset about. And if any one of us were dealing with what he's dealing with right now, it would be exceptionally upsetting. And to be able to just hold space. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, dude, like, it's okay. Like, actually, it's so okay that it's making me understand the other things that I'm really pissed off about that you're doing. Actually, a lot of it is coming from this space. And I it's not my place to try and be like, oh, just breathe through it. Use some tools. That's not going to help. But what I can do is I can hold space and just be a non-judgmental space. I'm not upset at him for being upset. I'm not trying to change him. I'm just being neutral. And not making it about me and not making it a problem that I have with him, and just like being completely in a neutral space is actually a beautiful exercise for me to hold neutrality when things are not going the way that we want them. And it's really interesting because in all of this, yesterday I was feeling sad and smashed my face into the ground and all of the things. Yesterday, being on the road is fascinating because you don't really know, if you're not planned, you don't really know where you're going to stay. Are we going to pay to stay somewhere? I don't really factor in places being full and it not being available? Or is there going to be a free spot that we can find? We're not 100% sure exactly what we're doing or what we're going to be dealing with when we get there. The easiest way to be in a controlled situation and not have to deal with a whole lot of factors that will throw you is to not leave the home where you're safe and secure. If you just stay where you are, eat the same food, do the same thing, wear the same clothes, hang out with the same people, go to the same job, everything is so predictable and you can control that. And I used to see that with mountain biking, where people would be trying to control the bike. And it's like, I'm sorry, this is clearly your coping strategy and it ain't going to work here. In fact, this is your opportunity to let go of some of that control, and you might just find that that enables you to do, because yeah, everything's just fine in the rest of your life, but it's not, because you have one little thing that throws your system off and you are going to, like, the whole world's going to just decompose on you, right? And when you purposely put yourself into a situation where you've got no idea, drove through a town, forgot, didn't even realize, didn't look up. Now done this twice. Our friend lived there. We could have stopped. We could have played with the dog. We could have gone and slept at Tractor Supply, but I don't really want to sleep at Tractor Supply. So we didn't sleep at Tractor Supply. Instead, we kept going, went through the town, didn't connect with the friend because I realized afterwards that she was there, and then stayed in a parking lot right underneath the interstate. And it was awful. Didn't sleep a wink. But it was great because we got up super early the next morning. It was like 5 a.m. Got on the road and we got to the state park where we were like, you know what, Cape Lookout is right on the beach. We're going to stay here. We got there at 11. So we got to spend the entire day there and then didn't leave until 12 o'clock the next day. So it was just beautiful, an amazing night's sleep. It was great. Didn't really know where we were off to next. I don't even remember where we went to next. Might have been Winchester. We had been to Winchester Bay. We're like, that's safe. We've been there. We know what to expect there. It'll be great. So we go and we stay at the marina. There's a reefer truck running all night and Ian doesn't really get any sleep. So that was like, we thought that that was predictable. Didn't work out so great. So then we were like, we know Brookings has an amazing state park. We'll go there. Or if not, Pistol State Park, that could work. There's a bunch of pullouts, but they're not really great places for the dog. And we do need to consider the fact the dog needs a place to, like, he doesn't want to just be tied up on the edge of a cliff next to the 101 highway. Like, that's not cool. We also know sleeping next to traffic is not going to do it for us. It's like all of these things, but I don't want to pay for accommodation every single night because $25 American is like $50. Yeah. So there's the money factor. And so then we go to an oceanfront RV park. We could have dry camped in a gravel parking lot for $40. Maybe we should have done that. But we were like, no, the state park will be nicer. So we keep driving. Well, Pistol State Park doesn't actually exist. Oops, it's just a beach. So then we get to Brookings. Well, it's full. What the hell? I'm like, okay, well, we'll go to Fred Meyer's. Well, Ian was planning on going to Fred Meyer's today. He wasn't ready for Fred Meyer's yesterday. And if Ian's not ready for the grocery store, he's not ready for the grocery store. So we go to the grocery store. It was a bit painful, but we got through it. And then I'm like, oh, well, there's a Memorial Park. It's like $20. It'll be perfect. It's right on the beach. We just wanted to stay on the beach. One last night before we go to our friend's house, it's not on the beach. And then we're in Reno and Nevada and not on the beach until we get to Mexico. So one last night on the beach. And get to that Memorial Park, it's tents only. So then Ian had to like reverse back onto the road. It was a bit of a thing. He is so calm through all of this. And we go to the casino. We could stay at the casino for free, but it's just a parking lot. It's not really that nice. And I see that in Crescent City, we can stay at the pier for free. Gorgeous. Oh my God. So beautiful. Ian climbs into bed. I'm just finishing some stuff up on the computer. And then the horn, it's not really noticeable. You guys can't hear it right now. It literally goes every 2 minutes. Meh, meh, meh. He lies in bed for about 10 minutes. He's like, nope, this is not going to work. So now it's 9:30 and he's like, nah, we got to go. And so we pack everything's pretty much packed up. But Ian's been putting his bike in the car because the dog is scared of having the bike in the camper. And that's another story. But anyway, so dog's on my lap. We're driving. I look at a place on the map. I'm like, this might be good. Of course, no overnight parking there. And then there's this pull-out spot. It's like a unicorn. There's no signs. It doesn't say no overnight parking. So it must be okay. It's right on the beach. All we could hear all night were the sea lions barking and the beach. It was incredible. Throughout this entire thing, neither one of us got frustrated. Neither one of us got stressed out. We were like, it's okay. Worst case scenario, we're an hour away from our friend's house. We could be there by 7 o'clock. It's not a big deal. Really want to stay on the beach. So yeah, this morning, first time ever, we get the knock. And yeah, the signs were missing. So we were,
Whoops.
there were signs, like, but they weren't signs. And like, I kind of come out and he's like, well, you can't really, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, we looked for the signs, there were no signs. And they're like, yeah, we've just noticed that the signs are missing. And the little notice that they gave us said that even if the signs are missing, you're still breaking. I'm like, well, yeah, I get, and I was like, I didn't even see that there were empty poles. He's like, no, it's okay. That's why we come by, just to make sure that we let you know. Basically, if the law enforcement people come, they're going to give you $100 citation. These guys were so friendly and they were so nice. And I was like, I mean, honestly, we would have gone to the little county park that was $20, but it wasn't on the beach. We wanted to be on the beach. But all of this to say, we somehow managed to do all of that without either one of us getting stressed or having anxiety or being frustrated. We were just like, okay, like,
Yeah.
it's going to be okay. And maybe that's because I rubbed my ears a few times. Butterfly tap. But really just that breathing, right? And I think both of us realizing that we couldn't control it. And we had such a mostly awesome day.
Yeah, well, and that's the key there, right? None of that was anything that you could control, so there's no point in getting all wrapped up about it.
Yeah.
You just kept moving on and kept looking for the next opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest key is just figuring out how to keep on going. And the gift that you give each other is just that witnessing. You're talking about Ian and the stuff he's struggling with right now, that it's the witnessing that has so much value.
Yeah.
You know, you're not getting sucked down into it. You don't need to participate in that energy, but you can sit there next to him and be like, yeah, man, this really, really sucks. And I'm sorry it's happening, but I'm just going to sit here next to you while it happens and we're going to get through it. And that's the same lesson the animals show me over and over again. If you want to calm down a horse, you need to be the one that's calm. You need to be the one that's grounded and allow them to have their experience. You're not trying to change the experience. The experience is the experience. But by you being able to be stable, that's what allows the other person, the other animal, to find calm again, because there's something to come back to at that point. There's something to come down to.
Yeah.
And I just think like that's the most powerful piece is like, how can we keep going back to that energy and that place? And the more, you know, this is what Laura Michelle talks about, squawking about the daily practice. The more you have a daily practice, hopefully in the morning, in the least, if not also something in the evening, that gets you to that place or gets you closer to that place, the easier it is to find your way back there during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And so that way you have something to anchor into and then go back to as you get rocked all day long, because it's going to happen. Life is going to happen. And it's funny, you talk about the people that come to your bike classes. It's not really working. You can't control everything. We talked about it before. You can't control the weather. Life itself is going to happen. And the less adaptable you are, the more bumpy that road is going to be,
Mm-hmm.
the more painful it's going to be.
Yeah.
And so, how can you find a way to just roll with it? So, it's like riding a bike, it's like riding a horse, it's like surfing, it's like kayaking. Can you just allow the current to move? Can you allow the things to move around you while maintaining your stability? Your stability comes from your daily practice, it comes
Yeah.
from grounding in every day in that practice. And it is a practice. Some days are going to be a hell of a lot easier than others, especially when the full moon rolls back around
Mm-hmm.
every time, you know? And so having that foundation underneath you so that when the weather gets really bad or whatever, the energies get really crazy, you've got something to anchor back into. And I think
Well,
that's really the like key to all of it is like what are you anchoring back to? What are you going back to reach for? If you can't remember your tools when you have a daily practice, you're not remembering your tools without a daily practice for sure. It's
no.
not happening.
Well, in the daily practice, I'm finding like I find is very, very hard, even with the best intentions when we're on the road. Like, yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna do my yoga. I'm gonna do this, but I know myself, and I'll do my yoga after this call with Jenny because it's cold out there right now, and I don't want to do it. Well, it's not getting any warmer. So the idea, am I gonna after this? Am I gonna go and do a 45-minute yoga practice? Don't know. Don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. And there's things that we could definitely be. I could have looked and seen that the campground was full. Honestly, if I had done that when we were sitting at the place we could have paid $40 for and stayed, then we probably would have made the choice to stay. So there are things that I could have done. I didn't. Great in hindsight. I also hate like will we get there? Maybe we'll find somewhere better along the way. I
Yeah.
don't want to be stuck into that, which might be a little silly. But then I do have to say this because I was really proud of myself. And when people were asking when we were leaving the States, and people would be like, so how do you feel about going to the States? What's your plan? What are you going to tell them? What are you doing? I'm like, well, my plan is that I have a plan. What do you mean? I'm like, well, we're going to go down the Oregon coast. We went across the border, and the lady's like, what are you doing? Going to Mexico. Okay, cool. How long are you going to be in the States for? I was like, about 10 days. She's like, oh, you're taking it slow. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to go down the Oregon coast for a couple of days. I'm going to stay with our friend in Oregon, and then we're going to head to Vegas. We're going to do a couple of days of biking in Vegas, and then we might spend a day or two in Lake Mead, and then we're going to cross the border at Yuma. And she was like, oh, okay, great, cool. Have a good time. And
Yeah.
I'd done my CDC form for the dog, and then I'd completely forgotten about it. Remembered on the ferry, and then forgot about it again because they didn't ask me when we got on the ferry. So I was like, oh, they don't need it. And so she asked about that. Do you have his rabies? Do you have his paperwork, or did you fill in the CDC? I'm like, I did. I filled in the CD. Then I couldn't find it in my email, so I'm scrolling through, and she sees that he's got his balance assistance dog jacket on. She's like, oh, what's a balance assistance dog? So Ian's telling her about that. And she's like, oh, you know what? Obviously, if he's a service dog, I'm sure you're all set. Right as she says this, I'm like finding the form. And she's like, just next time, make sure like print it out. I was like, I totally meant to. She's like, you're all good. Don't worry. Have a great night. And off we went. And honestly, my plan worked. It sounds ridiculous, but I had a plan. And I
Yeah.
told her the plan. And Ian was like, I didn't think you were going to mention that we were staying with Christine. And I'm like, well, it's exactly what we're doing. And it also makes it pretty legit as to why we're going to take 10 days to get there. And I will say, they were super nice, super friendly, didn't have a look in our camper, didn't search us at all. We did make sure we didn't have anything that we weren't supposed to have.
Good.
Um,
It's a good idea.
right? We boiled the eggs before we got on the ferry, but it was delightful and it was a beautiful experience. But just knowing where we were going, and that's how I live. Like, yeah, I have a plan, but it's loose.
Yeah.
And I couldn't
That's the
tell
key.
you, yeah, I couldn't tell you the date I was going to get to my friend's house. It was supposed to be yesterday. But we wanted one more day on the beach. Why reduce the possibilities and the opportunities that you can have by trying to control the fact that you might spend half of your day looking for somewhere to stay?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is you have a plan, but it's adaptable.
Yeah.
And it allows for the room for things to change. You know approximately when you're going to end up in Mexico, and you know approximately when and where you're going to end up in the other places. But what happens in the middle is allowed to be what it's going to be. And I feel like that's pretty much the easiest way to manage life. This whole week has been a bit chaotic with my friend being out of town because it's a 30-minute drive each way to her house and back, and then I have to do chores. And chores take a few minutes. It's not long, but it takes time. And that is almost 2.5 to 3 hours of my day that I don't normally invest in being away from my house or doing anything. And so the whole week, I've pretty much had to adapt. And the more I let go of trying to micromanage my own schedule and just know that I need to get up and I'll figure out what order everything falls in as soon as I get up, has allowed me to be able to have everything that I've needed to get done.
Yeah.
And when we can stop holding on to stuff so tightly, even with the daily practice, and it is hard when you don't have as consistent of a routine. There was one day on our vacation a couple weeks ago that I don't even know when I realized it, but I realized I had forgotten to meditate completely that morning. And so I was like, well, we're going to the beach, so I'll just sit on the beach and meditate. And it ended up working out that I had a really awesome meditation session. I ended up writing a whole post about it because of the information that came through when I was meditating. So perfect, right? It was exactly the way it needed to be. I could have been pissed off at myself and upset that I didn't do it first thing in the morning like I always do, but I just rolled with it. And there have been plenty of mornings, even in my own house, that I have managed to botch my own morning routine and daily practice. So it can happen, but as long as we have our priorities, what is our priority? Know that it's got to get completed, and then make a plan for the day and expect that it's probably not going to look exactly like that by the end of the day. But as long as all the important boxes get checked, that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And yesterday was a super long day. Everything was slower than I expected. I feel like that's been the theme lately, is like everything's taking longer than I think it should or expected to.
Oh, hey, we managed to take 5 or 6 hours to drive a drive that should be like 2.5, 3 hours. So, like, Ian and I had a discussion. It wasn't really a discussion, but I was like, how long is it going to take us to get to where we're going tomorrow? And I was like, it's like 319 kilometers. And he's like, okay, well, what did we do today? And so I'm like, 217. He's like, no, that can't be right. I'm like, yeah. He's like, how did it take 5 hours for us to drive that far? And I'm like, we stopped for lunch, had fish and chips on the beach, didn't stop in Waldport to see our friend. Second blip. He was like, dude, if you'd checked, I was like, we were already past. I'm like, every time we screw this up. I'm on it enough to message him and he's not there. Or we just drive straight past his house and he's sitting there looking at my Facebooks going, what the hell? You literally just drove right by. And I'm like, didn't know you were there. But now it's ingrained in my head. I know exactly where he is. And when we come back in April, he'll probably be in Alaska. So anyway, eventually we will see him. But yeah, losing time. Got it. Yeah, definitely with you on that one. We lose so much time on our trips, but it's okay.
But it really doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter.
Like in the long run, everything this week that has been super important has gotten done. There have been some days where I was like, this is a lot more than I really wanted to be doing today. And there have been some evenings where there really wasn't much evening because we were running until the very end of the day. But that's okay because everything's still getting done. I think the more lightly we can hold it, the easier it is to allow it to be what it is. And so the fact that it's a lot doesn't exhaust you the same way it would if you were railing against it or fighting it or holding on so tightly to it. It can be tiring, but it takes less out of you when you're not struggling, resisting it at that point.
It's like riding a bike or going for a run. And it's like you're riding a bike and you're like death knuckle grip on the handlebars.
And My
Uh,
arms hurt from how
right.
hard I'm holding onto the stupid handlebars. Yeah, that.
And yeah, and the energy. And it's like I was running along the beach the other day and I do try and be aware of loose hands. Then I noticed I've just got pain in my back, on my upper back. And I'm like, okay, how can I change the way I'm running? And then it's, I don't know, go for runs. And then for the next 2 days, I can't get out of the truck. And I go to get out after sitting for like an hour or 2 hours and my ankles don't work and my calves are all tight. And I'm like, is this really good for me? I don't know. I did stretch afterwards. But yeah, it's like you're just holding on, just noticing when you're holding on and like letting go and
Yep.
relaxing. And one of the last things I kind of want to say here is in the book I'm reading, he talks about how often most people don't have the ability to change the state of their heart. So when they're in a situation that their partner makes them feel really loved, the heart opens and they feel loved. But then the partner does something that makes them not feel loved and the heart closes and they don't feel love anymore. And so then they go looking for the experiences that open the heart. And we attach a thing or an experience to the heart being open because we don't know how to open our heart without something happening to do so. And then we avoid and we try and control the things that close our heart because we notice and we don't like that feeling. So therefore we try and like avoid that feeling and therefore we do things and take actions to avoid that feeling. And what we need to learn and what the daily practice teaches us is how to open that heart without it being an experience, it just being a choice to observe the sunset or to see the moon or to see a beautiful view or really just close our eyes and take a breath and open up our heart space without it being attached to a situation or a person or a thing that is outside of us. When we can actually learn to notice that our heart's closed and the Train Your Body to Wealth exercises, now I'm past the halfway mark. She's like, no, I don't know how I became able to just click my fingers and be in that open heart space and receiving space, but it is so. And now I'm fulfilled. It's like just stating that and claiming that I can choose, no matter what the situation is, to open my heart back up. And as soon as you have the control of that, doesn't matter what the moon's doing. You're a third party observer goes, whoa, something is closing our heart. Like, let's just take a moment. And that's the tools, right? The tools are about opening up that heart space again and observing something outside of me is rattling the bejesus out of me. I don't know what it is. As you said, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm able to take a breath and allow it to actually choose to open back up again.
Yeah. I love this so much. And this is probably a whole nother topic for a different episode. But I had that thought the other morning that if we can feel depressed or anxious or angry with no source that's identifiable,
Yep.
then we can feel happy and joyful and playful with no source, which means we can change our state. And so that's really what the practices are there to do. It's like Pavlov's dogs, right? Everyone knows the research that was done with Pavlov's dogs. They rang the bell and then gave the dog the steak or whatever it was. And then eventually the dogs would salivate at the sound of the bell.
Yeah.
So your daily practice is the bell.
Yeah.
Your daily practice is the ability to change your state at will. And there will be days that will be harder than others. And that doesn't make any of it wrong or a problem or anything to change or fix. It just means that you need to witness what's going on. But the stronger your practice is, that's like the louder and more powerful that bell becomes, so that you can willfully shift your state. And when we get to that point, that is pretty much what the gurus are teaching. That's what the goal is. And it's a lifelong journey. I have no delusion that I'm not going to be working on this the rest of my life.
The journey so much as it's just the daily practice. It's back to, we're not doing a yoga performance. We're not doing a biking performance. Well, sometimes people are, but most of us are not. It's just a practice. And if you can hold it lightly, and I would say that the pros out there that are doing crazy stuff on their bicycles, they're holding it very lightly, which is why they're able. It's when you clamp down, when it becomes a performance and not a practice.
Well, and I would even say, even the people who are in performances, in competition, that's one of the things as a horse rider. Competition is so different than your regular practice because there's nerves, there's pressure, there's people, you're often in a different place. There's all sorts of factors. But if you can treat it like practice, it's no different. And it shouldn't be any different. And that's when you know you've got the tools really deeply under your belt. I asked my trainer about that one time because I'm like, how do you deal with the anxiety? Horses are known for being uncomfortable in unfamiliar environments. If you take a horse to a show, that's a different environment. And she literally said, you have to build your foundation up strong enough that it is there through the adrenaline and through those anxious moments. That's all the daily practice is. You're just nothing more than that.
Yeah, you're just doing it for the love, and you step into the love and the joy of what you're doing instead of the fear and the anxiety. And I'm just noticing the time, and Jenny's always very much about the time. So we are going to wrap this up. I love that this is what happens to us when we're like, you know what? We actually have several topics that we're going to
wing it.
Let's just wing it. And we're not winging it because we don't have, we've got some topics. We're going to talk about our thoughts on certifications, right? We've got the whole JOMO, that's some amazing conversation random that I had on the beach, I think is a new religion we should all follow. You know, Jenny's got a beautiful concept and quote that validates the entire reason why we started this podcast. Don't get us wrong. We've got some things that we want to talk to you all about, but when I said to Jenny, hold up, have you been in a mood? Because I've been in a mood. I'm like, maybe this is a conversation that will entertain us, at least. Hopefully you, the listener, enjoyed this. And I think really, just to sum it all up, it's all about noticing. And I think we just keep coming back to this. Riding in the weeds, not riding in the weeds, not getting stuck in the weeds is purely about noticing and awareness. And you can read every single book out there on self-help and self-development and self-whatever until you actually step into the practice of noticing and shifting your state. None of that is going to help you.
Yes.
And the reason you keep reading different books is not because you're looking for the answer. But if you can hold that as somebody's going to say something that's going to penetrate deep enough that you're going to be able to just go a little further with it, or they're going to remind you. But there are not any answers in any of this stuff. The answer is creating awareness and being able to change that state, and however that works for you. And I'm just going to throw out Train Your Body to Wealth, 10 minutes a day. We will have the link in the show notes of this. I believe there will be a discount code as well. I just have to verify that. And going forward, if you're looking at doing any of Laura Michelle's courses, I've got it all set up in the funnel and the program. So you'll be able to go in and pick them, use our discount code, which again will be in the show notes, and we'll confirm this going forward. If you're interested in, we will talk more about the Train Your Body to Wealth, the Train Your Body to Write. She's got an amazing, it will have already passed by the time you guys hear this, but she'll be running more, but some workshops. You'll actually be able to buy it on an evergreen. She's got some really cool practices. And as I build them up into the system, they're going to be available to you guys, and we'll make sure we put them in the show notes. If you're looking for a daily practice, it's a good way to get started. And I found it's incredible just waking up and 10 minutes before I get out of bed, I just throw on the meditation. Lately, it's been 10 minutes before I go to bed. But I think part of that is exactly what she says. You get to the halfway and you start making up reasons not to. But I can have an excuse not to do it first thing in the morning. But there's very little excuse to not do it before I go to bed. And who doesn't want to meditate as you go to sleep? So with that, I am Natasha Lockie. You can find me online. I am on Betty Go Hard on Instagram. You can follow my journeys along to Mexico. And you'll also find me on LinkedIn, Natasha Lockie, and Substack, Natasha Lockie. And if you're interested in talking about ways to become more present online with courses, websites, all those sorts of things, just reach out to me, meetwithtash.com. All right, Jenny.
Yeah, I'm Jenny Brandon. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. You can find me on the web at soulpetconnections.com and on Substack, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube under the same handle. We appreciate having you along for this pretty wild ride through the weeds today. We are looking forward to hearing from you. Leave us a comment. Your likes, shares, everything mean a lot to us. So please reach out if you have any ideas for suggestions for topics. We would love to hear from you. Otherwise, we will see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.